I remember, when you work at Marriott, they give you these training courses, and you need to bring something that defines you, right? Yeah, I was talking to my parents because my mom used to work like for the government, my dad used to work also for the government, so they were a little bit worried what I was going to be, in the future. So I told them, yeah, I want to be an actor or a chef.
Okay.
Right?
Tell me a little more about Lima. You left the hotel, you left Marriott. How did you start with Lima?
You always say this is a dream, right? To have your own restaurant where you become a chef. And I got a really good friend that was my angel investor, Alberto Perret. We are friends, and we talk a lot about having a nice restaurant on island.
Welcome to Hospitality Mastery.
On the next episode, Hetty Bouroncle, chef and owner at LIMA Bistro.
Thank you so much for having your time to join us here at your beautiful office that I must say you just mentioned that a chef inspiring office.
Well, we call it Culinary Thinking Center. That's the way we call
Culinary
it.
Thinking Center.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit more of that idea?
Well, my restaurants are restaurants that evolve constantly, and for me it's very important to keep the restaurant fresh with new recipes and new ideas and new plates. And it was pretty hard to do it when I was in a small office behind my kitchen, right? It was part office, part storage, part locker room. So it was very difficult to keep that thinking process of doing new things for both of my restaurants, AZAR and LIMA Bistro. So, and I have a lot of information that I can take out of, and even at home was pretty hard to do those tasks, right? Because I have 4 kids and they play around.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah, so
creativity blocks right away.
Yeah, so for me, it was very important to find a space where I can sit and find new ideas for the restaurants. And we create this space where normally is my office, but it's the place where I probably just put music and grab some books, create some ideas, or meet with the chefs, also go through books and drink some beers probably. And,
Nice. It's also part of it.
yes, and create new things for the restaurants. And also for projects that I don't have here in Aruba, but future projects that I will develop probably in the future. So yeah, this is the place for creating those ideas.
Nice, awesome. And I see you have a lot of books. Is it a little bit about kitchen, recipe, leadership?
Yeah, I have.
What's the variety?
I have a lot of books from different cooks, right? I have some books on for wines. I would say.
Nice.
Cocktails. There's a book called Enciclopedia del Sabor, so how to match flavors. There's some books of design, mocktails books, fermentation, all different things that we have here. Yes.
Nice. Well, I think it works because the creativity that you have at Lima is just incredible. And I would love to hear more about what are you coming up with, what are the next projects.
Yes.
But before we do that, I have a question for you. I call it the icebreaker, okay? The first question would be, what's the weirdest food you secretly love, and would you put it in your menu?
What's the weirdest? I don't know. For me, yeah. I will put it on my menu, you say? Well, I think I have something that for me is very like humble. It's not weird because we all eat it, but it's eggs, right?
Okay.
So for me, an egg could be a star on a menu.
Usually it's breakfast.
No, it could be dinner. So
it could be dinner.
Yeah. So in our case, actually, we have a egg dish called huancaína. It's based or inspired in a Peruvian dish.
Okay.
That is normally the potatoes are the stars of this dish, and then you put like like hard boiled egg on top. That's the Peruvian way of doing it.
Okay.
But in our case, we cook the egg in a low temperature. We put it on top of the sauce. We mix it with potatoes around, some prosciutto, truffle, and it's like a huevos rotos. So when you mix all together, we give the instructions to our guests to
Wow.
break it down and eat it all together. So the flavors are very nice, and the egg with the creaminess inside of the low temperature egg yolk creates this amazing dish.
Nice. Well, it sounds very interesting. Egg
Because
and prosciutto, that's
and egg has like so many ways of being. If you do egg with oil and mustard, you create a mayo, right? If you do fried egg, you have that crispiness, but also the creaminess of the egg yolk. If you do frittata, right, you are it's a base to carry a lot of vegetables. If you do an omelette, it's a full egg in a different way. So you can find like so many ways of doing egg. If you got that egg yolk and you put it on soy sauce for 5 days, then you can shave that on top of a salad.
nice.
So out of one simple
Just one simple item.
you can do so many things.
Wow.
And that's what I love about the egg.
And that's the imagination that you need and the
Yes.
creativity, and you need
And
to
the learning
think.
process, right? Because
Yes.
probably you just learn at home how to do a fried egg or an
exactly.
omelette, right?
Scramble eggs for breakfast.
Or scramble, you see,
That's
another
it,
way.
and done.
But when you work in restaurants, when you see recipes, you find these new ways to do things.
Excellent. So Teddy, let's go through your career, because right now you're the owner of 2 restaurants.
Yes.
But before that, you worked for the Marriott International for 10 years or
11.
more? 11 years.
Yes.
Tell us about that career path. How did that grow? You started as a chef and then food and beverage director. How was that experience for you?
Yeah, well, it was great. Marriott is a great company. It's a good company to learn a lot of processes and a way to. They teach you very good how to treat your team and how to treat your guests. I think they're very strong on that. A lot of processes that you can also implement in your future businesses, like I have done. So yeah, I started in Marriott. Actually, I'm cook since I'm 17 years old, right?
And you started in Peru, correct?
I started in Peru.
Okay.
I then went to the States. I worked there for a couple of years. Came back to Peru. I worked for a Peruvian hotel chain for 5 years as a first chef, and then I grew up as a corporate chef, so I was running 17 hotels in Peru.
Wow, so you were running 17 hotels?
Yes.
At the same time?
Yeah. I was a corporate chef, so I used to travel.
Okay.
I used to travel every month to see our properties and,
Wow.
and to implement new things, to make some standards, to create processes, and it was a fun job too. And then in 2010, I joined Marriott, right? And I worked there for 11 years. I worked at JW Marriott in Lima for a couple of years. Then I moved to the JW Marriott in Cusco. It's a beautiful property. I opened that hotel, 153 rooms.
Nice.
A restaurant with 50 seats in an old monastery from the 16th century. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful. And then I joined Aruba Marriott for my last 6 years of career. I came here as a complex executive chef,
Okay.
overseeing the 13 outlets and the entire F&B operation, culinary, right? And then I got promoted as a F&B director of operations for the resort. So I was overlooking the entire resort operation, front of the house and back of the house.
Nice.
Yes.
Wow, that is a career.
Yeah, well, I did more things. I went to work in Singapore for half of a year.
Imagine.
When in 2009, 2009, I quit to the company. I was with my wife in Peru, one kid, and I was very like tired of doing what I was doing. And I said to my wife, why we don't go to Singapore? I want to work for free in a restaurant.
You want to work for free in a
yes.
restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I work for
What did
free.
your wife say?
She said, yes, let's go.
Okay, yeah, she loves you.
Yeah. And yeah, we sold what we had, everything. And
Wow.
we went to Singapore and I worked in that restaurant for 6 months. And then before I was leaving to Singapore, right, JW Marriott offered me a job. And I said, okay, I will come back. But I have these plans, no? And this restaurant where I worked in Singapore is called Les Amis.
Okay.
It's a fine dining, super fine dining restaurant. And it was a one lifetime opportunity for me. So we took the risk. We went there. I learned a lot. I came back to Peru and I applied what I learned, right? And JW Marriott Lima, the time I was there, we were number one in the region in food quality. The same when I was in Cusco, we were number one in the region in food quality. And so that was always my drive, no, to become the best on what we can do. So yeah, that's pretty much my career. And then Marriott brought me over, right, 2014, and I started my career here 2 years first as a complex executive chef, and 4 years later as director for the beverage operation.
Nice, nice, nice. You said so many things that bring a lot of questions to me, but one of those is what was the drive? I mean, your career just as a cook, and you went through all the positions to be the corporate chef for an entire chain. What is the drive behind a person? What do you think? What's the thinking process? What's the growth? Because I would like for people that are working in the hospitality industry, regardless, if you're a line cook, if you're a server, if you're a supervisor, what is the drive inside of you and the passion that said, I want to get to this point? Did you think about it? Did the opportunities open up for you? How did it look like?
I remember, when you work at Marriott, they give you these training courses, and you need to bring something that defines you, right?
Okay.
Some people brought probably, a picture of their dogs or
a plant.
a plant or something. And I brought a table game called Risk.
Okay.
Right? Because I think that probably defined many things that I have done in my life.
Definitely.
Right? Taking risk to move forward and to, without questioning myself, just pushing myself to do it. Believing in my own skills.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is something that I was talking about this a week ago with some friends, and after I finished the school, right? First was 1996. I decided to be a chef, right?
Okay.
To become a cook. So 1996 in Peru there were not culinary schools, right?
That's impressive to hear from Peru, one of the number one culinary.
1996 is 20 years ago.
Wow.
Right? No, more than 20 years ago. Yeah. 30 years ago. So, yeah, I was talking to my parents because my mom used to work like for the government. My dad used to work also for the government. So they were a little bit worried what I was going to be, in the future. So I told them, I want to be an actor or a chef.
Okay.
Right?
Actor and chef, different things, but okay.
And completely away from what they were doing.
Okay.
Right? So my parents said, "Are you crazy? You're gonna be starving as an actor, right?" And I said to my mom, "Probably as a chef, not, right? Because I learned how to cook, and I will be able to cook my own food." But then my mom made me to sign a contract. She said, you know what? If you really want to become a chef, you need to sign a contract. Right?
Wow.
That the contract says that they will pay only my career, of being a chef. And if I decide to do something different, they will not be paid for that, right?
Okay.
So when I was 16 years old, I signed my first contract. I took the risk.
Nice. I need to use that with my kids.
I took the risk to sign my first contract, and my mom says, "Okay, well then look for the school, find a school."
Okay.
So I went around Lima, and there were no schools around Lima. So I started in a hospitality management school.
Okay.
And I was talking always with a good teacher that became a friend, and I said, you know what, I want to be a chef. I want to be a cook. And the guy said, well, I think they're gonna open a culinary school very close to where we are right now.
Yeah.
In March. Why you don't go and take a look? So, you sure? Yes. So I went to the address he gave me, and I saw the school. The school was, they were finishing. Closing the doors and painting the walls and everything.
Yeah.
And I just knocked the door and said, this is going to be a culinary school? They said, yes. Okay, can I sign in? Well, yeah, you can sign in. So I went back that day at home, and I told my mom I got the school. So, well, they paid the school for me for the next 3 years. And then I remember my first job out of the school, where my parents invest a lot of money on me, was as a stewarding, as a dishwasher.
Imagine.
Right?
There'd be like all this money and you're going to be a stewarding.
Yes.
That is
so that was my first job in a Japanese restaurant. I started cleaning dishes and bridges and boats and I remember one day, washing the dishes during service, and I say to myself, right, I cannot be here. I mean, my parents spend a lot of money on me, and I'm washing dishes, so I need to move from here and do more.
Exactly.
Right? So I think that was the first click on my mind to...
I need to do something.
I
Is it more like I need to make my
improving.
Parents... happy.
I think in the beginning
more responsibility
was not about my parents, but was about also myself, right? Because I was convinced that to become a chef, it was a career.
Exactly.
Right? Or become a cook was a career for me. So I was proving myself that I took the right decision, right? So after a few weeks, they allowed me to serve soup, and then they allowed me to cook some items and to help on the prep, and then somebody offered me a job somewhere else, and then you keep moving, right?
Keep moving. That is very important. Now, in this entire trajectory, keep moving. Would you say, was it like, what was the time frame for you? A year? You were like, okay, I learned this, and I need the next risk.
I think
2 years. What was it for you like?
Well, I don't know if I did it that way, but I think you need to commit with a restaurant or something at least 2 years, right? So you can get
Important to know.
Yeah, at least 2 years. So you commit with the project. You learn, right? You can be there for 10 years if you want, right?
Exactly.
But if I have someone new on my team, I expect them to be committed at least 2 years with me.
Definitely.
That's
and then,
pretty much the idea.
And then you grab everything you have, you learn, you apply, and you go to the next one and the next one.
Yeah, because I think this career is also a career where you need to fit yourself with new ideas, with new techniques, with new things that will create your own style of cooking.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, because let's say even Lima is inspired in a Peruvian cuisine, right? It's not classic Peruvian. It's a little bit of myself, of flavors that I learned outside, or flavors that I try that I like, or things that I saw in another restaurant, and I change with some items that we have around, and we can create a new recipe, right?
Exactly.
That's how it works.
Excellent. Now let's go a little bit more into the structural part of it, because I think kitchen and service and hospitality is a beautiful career to have. But once, as you're growing, you're going more into processes. You mentioned it twice, creating systems. How everything that you learned in the hospitality industry, how are you applying it now to your own restaurant?
I think my restaurant is still on the hospitality business, right?
Yeah, it is, exactly.
I learned that probably in the hotel business.
Okay.
But we still an hospitality business.
Exactly.
Right? I think there are certain things that we use in the restaurants a lot. Is first, communication is the most important. We have these huddles of 15 minutes before we start the service.
Very important.
In both of the restaurants, where we share. Always needs to be a motivational meeting, right? We share what we're gonna do that night, if there are specials or something. Probably, we live in an island, so it's pretty hard to have everything all the time. But
Exactly.
If we have something 86 or we try to don't talk about like bad experiences of the day before. If we see that, we try to address that with wrap sessions with our own employees, right? So that's also a process that we implement. So I always ask my managers to have wrap sessions with their teams on a weekly basis.
And you say wrap sessions is individually, in
Individually,
group? Okay,
yes,
nice.
yes. And the huddles are daily before service. And then we, at Lima, we are creating a lot of SOPs, just to have the whole message clear for the team constantly. We have our handbook.
Nice.
We create a handbook for the team. As soon as you sign with us, you get a handbook where all the game rules are reading. So those are, we have some checklists for closing, for opening, inventory processes, things that also give you a imagine of your business, right?
Yes. How do you prepare your staff when they start? Because you mentioned you have your handbook, so they receive this once they start working with you. What else do you set them in a 1 week training? Do you prepare them?
Yeah, we
What
set
is
up normally a 1 week training.
Okay.
In front of the house. Basically, the people who start working with us do a shadowing, and they worked with someone assigned to that position.
Yes,
right?
yes.
We normally try to, when we hire someone that will start from the bottom. So if we have an opening position for a server, we always try to look for someone inside of the team.
Exactly.
Right? So let's say in our case, we have a manager in the front of the house, supervisor, servers, and runners, right? So we normally hire runners, so they become, so we have one runner that can become a server. And if we open up a position of supervisor, we try to always find someone inside of the team.
Exactly, to
that
grow,
is
to go to
a
the
server
next
to
level.
become a supervisor.
Yes, yes. That is the best way to do it. I think they see it for them. They see that there's
a
growing opportunity for them in the company, and they appreciate that a lot. It's very
Yes.
important to keep your staff happy, and they see
Yes.
that it's
And-
the
and-
best of their interests.
Of course.
Nice, nice.
And well, then our team receive constantly training. We partner up with the wine vendors, but we also create our own training process of like allergies and the menu. We normally take like a monthly test of the menu, so they should know the menu very well. Allergies also is very important to have that clear. So our management team in the front of the house prepare constant trainings for them.
It's
Yes.
interesting. As we're talking about Lima, we jumped a little bit too fast in it. I love the part of processes, because it is something that you see so much in hotels.
Yes.
And then how to apply it and transition into a smaller restaurants or smaller operation. It's really important. And because things go a lot faster and the communication is closer, usually a lot of smaller restaurants skip this part, but it is really important. But before we go there, tell me a little bit more about Lima. You left the hotel, you left Marriott. How did you start with Lima?
Yeah. Lima Bistro, we opened on 2021, June. Right? I left Marriott in November 2020. Yeah, you cannot... You always say this is a dream, right? To have your own restaurant where you become a chef. And I got a really good friend that was my angel investor, Alberto Perret. We are friends, and we talk a lot about, having a nice restaurant on island. Alberto in the beginning was a little bit concerned, right? Seeing the island, how it works, he told me like, hey, just do Caesar salad and caprese and you will be fine, right?
Yes, keep it safe.
Yes.
But you like risk.
Yes. And I said to him very clear, I mean, if I'm going to do that, then I stay and work in a hotel.
Yeah.
Right? If I do something, I want to do something that represents my soul, what I really like to do. And it could be a risk, but it could be also a hit. Right? But I'm pretty sure that flavors that we do are nice, people like it. And actually, I think I use Marriott as a platform because I was doing some pop-ups at the lobby at the Marriott with some of the flavors that we knew. And they were a success too. So, but I think nobody...
They were all sold out.
Yes, yes. And nobody ever took the risk to do something like that. And that's how Lima came to life. Alberto believed on me. And we opened in a small corner in the middle of nowhere, just waiting for people to show up. And I think in the beginning, well, until now, my first supporters were all my friends and people that know me from the hotel. And I am really thankful for that. And then Lima was a word of mouth. People start coming over. I think we didn't spend money on marketing the first couple of years at all. Now we are in the part of the dining scene, I would say, no, or I don't know how to say this, but we're part of a route. No, people come here, then they go to the next.
Yes, the must-do restaurants you have to visit in Aruba.
Yes.
Yeah, the must-do list.
yes. And now we have budget to invest in marketing.
Imagine.
But at the beginning, we didn't have budget for that, right? So it was all people talking about the restaurant, and it was not easy, right? But I was very convinced with my cuisine that could be a hit, and we were very convinced of
what you're
of
your product, what you're giving.
Yes.
No,
and our commitment was always like fresh product, as fresh as we can get. We create this relationship with a fisherman that can get us fish on a daily basis. That was before impossible, right? When I used to work for Marriott, we used to import all the fish, right? Because it's a huge operation. So you need big volume, right? So in this case, I have the chance to work with a fisherman directly.
Yes,
we have the opportunity also to work with Rachel from the mushrooms locally.
Yes.
Right?
True.
Because also sometimes, if you buy mushrooms in a hotel, then she probably run out in a week, right? So
And then you have Rodney, I think his name is, that he had all the herbs. Or
well, we buy from Lorraine,
okay,
but
okay.
Ronnie also has his
Nice.
his macaroons called Planted.
Yes.
All right, but we buy from Lorraine from Petty Greens.
Petty greens
She does also grow macaroons for us.
Yes,
especially
yes.
for us, and especially for Irving, and especially for she
Yes.
does a lot of things.
Nice.
We buy bread from Tito Pan, so we try to use as much as
The
we can of the locals. Yes.
That's great, because service starts from within, and you need to have one important aspect is that your employees are growing, they feel appreciated. How do you maintain that every day, being the owner, but also how do you pass that to your managers so they can maintain their staff at that level? Always, like you mentioned, today we need to do better than yesterday. How do you do that? How do you accomplish that?
I don't know. It's real.
It's in you. You have it.
Yes, it's real. We are always clear. I mean, we have, like I said, open communication, right? If they have a problem, I'm here, right? They all have my phone number, right? I'm in a chat with all of them, right? So if they need my direct access, I'm here for them,
Right.
right? And we are sincere. We are sincere people. My wife also comes to the restaurant. This is a family-owned restaurant, right? We are not a big corporation. So my kids came here to. They all know my kids, and I think things that we do together, right? We have lunch together every day. The
Nice.
team, right?
Okay.
Sometimes when I'm here, I probably sit at the table, but normally the entire team has lunch together. We set up a
Nice.
table, and they sit down in a big table, the whole team. So that also creates boundaries, right?
That family oriented,
Yes.
direct personal interaction
Yes,
that you have
yes.
with them.
We try to do the best meal for our employees, right?
Nice.
We don't do only chicken wings and white rice, right? Like I saw it in different places.
Yeah.
We try to do a really nice meal for our team.
Nice.
We have a gym benefit for all of the ones who want to take it.
Okay, nice.
So there are certain things that we do probably different than other restaurants, but that create that we close on Sundays, right? So everybody has their Sunday off with their families, even if they want to go to the beach or the church or whatever, and they have only also one more day off during the week. So they have 2 days off a week. And we have a very healthy environment. We try to avoid conflicts to confront conflicts. Is there a conflict?
Let's talk about it right away.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
Yes.
really important. That is really important.
And it's part of the communication, right?
It definitely. And how is there a challenge? Are you fully staffed? Do you have any challenge with the hiring, or is your team complete?
There are a lot of challenges, especially. Well, my kitchen now is very well staffed, but front of the house it cost me like 4 months to October, November, Diciembre, enero, febrero, marzo, like 7 months to get a qualified bartender. Even though we pay, I think, above the market, people don't apply for the position.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were looking for a bartender. We just hired a guy right now, but we were looking for a bartender, and it took us almost.
Imagine 7 months for you to have a
from-
qualified person.
Yeah,
because
qualified.
You can have many applications, but what is a qualified person for you?
Well,
In this case, for the bartender,
we
of
were
course,
looking
the
for someone
experience.
with experience, right? And also, I think the growth of the island has been like very quick, very fast in the last years.
Correct.
So whoever can mix pineapple mix on a blender with ice and rum, think is a bartender.
Yes.
Because also that happened,
Yes.
right? Sometimes the hotels are like very fast paced, and you run out of bartender because he went AO, right? Because the AO is a huge problem. It's a not controlled AO,
Exactly.
right? And yeah, you grab the guy who was carrying dishes, say, okay, today you're gonna be the bartender,
Yes.
right? And what I need to do? Okay, pineapple mix, rum, ice, pineapple, pina colada, ready,
you're good.
right?
Exactly.
Strawberry mix,
Rum.
rum, ice. You got your daiquiri,
Yes.
right? And then those guys, well, probably the guy who went out never came back because he found another job for one more floor in somewhere else, and that guy stay at the bar doing pina coladas and
He's a
daiquiris.
bartender.
And after 2 years, he believes he's a bartender. Right? That's sad because at the end, the industry suffers.
Yes. It
Right?
is.
So there's no much professionalism on neither on the cooking side, right? So yeah, I interview people, but people that probably had that kind of experience,
Yes. Yes.
right?
What do you think would be a solution for the island on that?
Well,
Because
first, I think there should be probably a bartender school. Right? I don't know if there's a bartender school. I think probably bartending is part of the program of EPI or whatever, but there are countries where you have a bartender school,
exactly.
right? Where you apply the most, I would say, the last techniques.
Yes, the most updated
Updated
recipes,
recipes,
styles,
exactly.
all these, because bartender is not anymore just mixing alcohol. It's an entire experience.
Now clarification,
Showcasing,
a lot of smoking process,
Exactly.
Different kind of syrups, infusions. I mean, we are in diapers, right? There are certain places here in Aruba, just few places that can say that they're doing a nice
Mixologist, you can call it, exactly.
thing. But they brought guys from outside also to become these mixologists, right?
True.
Because they didn't find the talent in Aruba,
Yes.
right? So yeah, that's something that is pretty hard.
Well, I think we have
But
a
also-
long way to go.
Yeah. But also, I think like in the culinary students also, I think the school that has still teaching what they were teaching.
10 years ago, 15 years ago.
I would say 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Okay, so we need to update
Right.
even education level as well.
Yeah, I think we need an update on that, and we the private sector can be part of that change too,
Absolutely.
right? I can teach for free,
Absolutely.
right?
Well, now you know we're gonna contact MPI. I have
Well,
a
we
teacher ready
already-
for you. You're ready there?
We already offer ourselves
Okay,
to help and
imagine.
support,
And
right?
were
But
they open to it?
we don't receive any
Imagine.
information yet.
Interesting.
I think it's very important for the private sector to be involved
More involved, absolutely.
into the student part of Aruba.
the education
Yes.
system.
Yes. And I think we can bring a lot to the table, right? But I think there are certain processes that they need to figure out how
How to do it.
and I think the private sector will be more than happy to support the culinary school or the
Yes.
bartending school. And I know it's pretty hard because, like you say, it's a very fast-paced industry. But I think that's what is needed.
That is what is needed.
Yeah.
Before I go to my next question of what is needed, let me ask you one little icebreaker questions once again. If you had to choose between one ingredient in your restaurant, either salt or garlic, which one would you choose?
I will choose salt.
Salt.
Yes.
You can live without garlic, not without salt.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things with salt too.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
You can make it sweet?
You can make it sweet, probably not.
Don't
But
surprise me if you say so.
yeah,
What
well,
can you do with salt?
well, you can cure a fish with
Okay.
salt. You can bring down the heat of food with salt.
Okay.
You can salt a steak, a piece of steak.
And that's all you need.
You can add salt to a drink to enhance the flavors. You can, yeah, I think you can do a lot.
Yeah,
with
okay,
salt.
okay. Salt it is, salt it is. Now, as we're talking about the developments and not only in the education system, but also overall in the operations of running a restaurant. Technology is a big thing right now. There is ChatGPT, DeepSea, and there are different systems out there that you can use for the clock in, clock out, to do your payroll even better. In the kitchens, I heard there are machines that can do dumplings. I don't know how many dumplings a minute, and pizza dough. Apparently, there's also a system that does all the rolling of the dough. So it's a big thing in the pizza world. What are one of these technologies or systems that you're using in your restaurants? Is it something that we need to look more here in Aruba to add technology to it? Where are we going with that?
Yeah, I think there's few things. Yeah, there's technology in the kitchen that needs to be applied to improve your process of production and your labor. Also, no. If you have an oven that will cost you probably around 20,000 florins, right? But it will do the job of two people probably doing certain things,
Okay.
right? So we try in our kitchens. We try to have the best technology possible for our cooks. I don't know if the pizza dough machine or those, but we do have certain equipment that make the life of my cooks
Better.
easier.
Yeah.
Yes. And in the front of the house, well, we have our POS system that has all the information of the food items. Also, is part of the clock in and clock out. Basically, those things. ChatGPT, we use it a lot.
Do you use any of these systems for your marketing, for ideas, for recipes? Do you interact with
For
that?
processes.
For processes.
For
Okay,
SOPs.
okay.
Yeah. We ask ChatGPT many times.
Have you tried DeepSea?
No.
It's better than ChatGPT.
Yeah?
Yes, you should use it.
Okay, we will try. But yeah, this is still a learning curve, right?
Yes,
I think
yes.
it will become the time when where we will find more tools to use on our restaurant. We use Canvas for marketing. What we do with Stacy, so Stacy is the champion of that.
Nice.
So yeah, we use some stuff to create.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, Teddy, thank you so much for all your time, all your learning. Is this space open for more chefs? Could we invite?
No, this is only for us, for people. I mean, my leadership team from AZAR and from Ever also. Ever, we share the office with Ever.
Yes.
I'm partnered with Ever. I'm partnered with AZAR also with Miguel. And all our leadership has access to this office, and we use books, we share books, and
Nice. Well, Teddy, thank you so much for your time. I would really love to see you more involved in the educational part
we will love
of
to
the
help.
island.
We will
So
love to
if
help,
there's
for
anything
sure.
that I hear, I know I can come to you and I can count on you. And I'm sure the students in the kitchen area,
Well,
they would love to hear these stories.
We are involved in having always people from EPI coming over to
Nice.
do their stagiaires with us. So I think in that sense we are already giving our help to the
Your
market,
piece,
right?
Exactly.
we had people in the front of the house and people in the back of the house that came to do their stagiaires. Some of them already stay with us.
Nice.
Right? We have a girl that worked in the kitchen, and then he asked to jump in the front of the house. Now she's a server.
Nice.
She started as a runner. Now she's a server. And we have 2 guys that also start with us as a cooks.
Okay.
Or as a stagiaires, and now they're cooks. One of them, he already worked with us almost like a year and a half, and he's moving to the Netherlands.
Nice.
And the other guy will take more responsibilities in the near future.
Well, I'm sure your staff really, really enjoys working with you. I can see the passion that you have for the industry, for your team, and it's really an exceptional thing to have. And thank you so much for sharing all your experiences. To everyone that will see your interview, you are our second interviewer, just so
nice.
you know. So I truly appreciate your time for
you.
being here. Thank you so much, Teddy.
Thank
and
you.
all the best. We look forward to seeing how many more restaurants coming up.
We'll see.
We'll see
We'll
a
see
few
what
more.
we have
There's
in
more
the pipe.
risk to take.
Yes, always we need to check how the market
Reacts.
now with all these new things going on in the States and everything. But yeah, the idea is to keep moving and keep doing things.
Excellent. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hospitality Masquerade.